Welcome to the bold analysis. I want us to take a break from our local issues around here and cross over to the United States of America. November 5th is a very important day in the calendar of elections in the US because the voters, the 161 voters, will yet decide on who becomes their president. Is it a time for America? Is America going to pick first female president? Is it a matter of continuity? We are going to look at that, but of critical significance is the Nairobi President Ruto team are vouching for Kamala Harris. So I'm going to show you why I'm saying that, and then we explain what are the stakes. What are the stakes of the Nairobi-based Statehouse team in the upcoming US elections, so that we can really relate with what's with with Kenya. But then let's look at the state of that race so far. Out of 161 voters in the US, there is that early voting by mail. 76 million had voted early voting, and 41% of those who have voted are Democrats, while 39 are registered Republicans. Now, I like this part because in the US, you vote and already it's known that you're a Democrat or you're a Republican. I wish that can also work with us so that you know, but of course we have so many parties. So if that is to happen, you may not know. But I think even here, people who are registered at parties already known, even though IBC cannot be able to tally that and just show the country at that point. So that race is a very tight race. And people can predicted differently, but I think even some of the political analysts are so cagey on declaring their stand on who is going to win that. But I've looked at one of the key analysts, and not that analyst, someone who also does election focusing in the US. And he came out with a list of some factors that are going to decide the outcome of that election. Lichtman's 13 criteria that are going to decide that election. I want us to just go through this. One is the party mandate. And the party mandate, I think you have to remember that Kamala Harris took that ticket from Biden, a decision that was reached after maybe by the Democrats, after realizing that probably Biden could not be able to deliver the seat for the Democrats. And there are so many other factors involved in that decision, and they directly passed that baton to the deputy, who is Kamala Harris. So it's the Democrats versus Republicans. It's going to decide on who turns up to vote and how many will then actually follow the party on that. And in fact, in the US elections, the party play a very critical role. It's a very key factor on deciding that vote. They're also talking about incumbency. Yes, Lichtman is talking about the second criteria to predict. It's called 13 keys to the White House. Incumbency. Who is going to carry the burden of incumbency? That is Kamala Harris. If the US economy is declining, will they carry that on Kamala, or say because it was Biden regime, she should not have it? So it will be interesting to see. In fact, if Kamala wins it, this is one of the factors that really is going to be looked at. The other one is the social unrest. Yeah, just looking at how quite a number that have been happening on the way people have been reacting to some of the policies and decisions made by the Biden regime. Scandal. Remember, there have been a scandal that was largely linked to Trump sometime in July, involving someone who had worked for her, a lady who had worked for her. It was some X-rated scandal. And there are quite a number have been following that election. That, if you've been following that contest, it's also riddled by scandals. There is change, policy change, short-term and long-term economy. There is foreign military failure in policies, then foreign military success, incumbent charisma, and challenger charisma. So these are 13 keys and contest, just the state of the contest. 13 keys to that election. So it's still really tight. There have been also discussion, observation that I was making on the swing vote, on the swing battle states. And there was attention on Georgia, Peninsula, Pennsylvania. Yeah, I think I've gotten it right. Pennsylvania, Nevada, Arizona, Michigan, and North Carolina. As the time was shooting, I think Trump was leading 48 votes against Harris 46. But of course, that is just an observation of what will come up. Election analysts have taken this to the streets, and they've really been trying to do different polls are showing any one of them between Harris and Trump has a position to win that election. Now let's get to Nairobi. Aden Duale has shared a video of Obama, and remember Obama campaigning for Harris. Obama is Democrats and is a former president who is campaigning for Harris. Let's listen to that video.
Let's talk about health care. If you ask Donald Trump what he's going to do to make health care more affordable, he's got one answer, and that is repeal the Affordable Care Act. And he's not by himself. The other day, the Speaker of the House, the Republican Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, said there would be, quote, no Obamacare if Trump wins. Now, do not boo. Vote. Now, neither of them can really explain why they want to end it, except for the fact that I did it. The problem they have is, guess what? The Affordable Care Act works. Almost 50 million people have gotten health care because of it. Another 50 million have the security of knowing insurance companies can't deny them coverage because of a pre-existing condition. The more people benefit, the more popular it has become. Which is why a couple weeks ago, some of y'all saw this, Trump's running mate, Mr. Vance, do not boo, vote. Mr. Vance had the nerve to say Donald Trump, quote, salvaged the Affordable Care Act. What? Donald Trump spent his entire presidency trying to repeal the Affordable Care Act, trying to tear it down. And he couldn't even do that right. And now, 8 years after he was elected, he was asked, well, if you did repeal it, what would you replace it with? And he looked, and he kind of fumbled around, and they said, well, I've got concepts of a plan for how to replace it.
So Duale is a CS, Ruto's administration. And the Ruto regime has been closely monitoring their policy, aligning their policy to the West. And it's of course, the Nairobi diplomats are vouching for Kamala Harris. I don't know who you're vouching for. And from there, they're now saying they're vouching for Kamala Harris to get that seat. There's been a discussion about the women voting age, but I want to react just on that video in two fronts. Number one, I think we are really learning a lot. You see, in US, when did Obama leave presidency? 8 years ago. That is 2016. Obama is still a chief campaigner for Kamala Harris and the Democrats. In this country, if Uhuru Kenyatta dare campaign for a candidate in 2027, hey, it will be disastrous. And the opponents will use that against all manner of things. But look at how, and in fact, in Kenya, a former president is technically deprived of his political rights. And the right of association, the political arena, is not available for a politician. But I've really liked the fact, I like the fact that they've taken it. Number two is the issue of the gender gap. Of course, if Kamala wins, I've seen those polls showing that women are voting for Kamala more than the men. And of course, that will be predictable. What is the Nairobi stake in it? What is the Nairobi interest in the US elections? I'm seeing some three factors. Number one is Haiti mission. Haiti mission was fully backed by the US, and Kenya is actually leading that mission. I'm so much convinced that the Nairobi team is not in Haiti mission for what is written on paper, stabilizing the nation, peace. There is no, I cannot see the business quantum between Kenya and Haiti, commercial interest or any interest between Kenya and Haiti. But Kenya is in that just as a milk, as a cash cow. They're getting fortunes. And Nairobi team is getting fortunes from supporting that. They really want vote for continuity. The other issue is Washington had placed William Ruto as their African head boy. Yes, their African head boy, and the route to East Africa, that has been none other than William Ruto. Probably the Nairobi team are saying that if there will be a change of regime in the US, probably President Ruto would miss that privilege, because a new regime will come, the regime change will come with different policies, and can even shift from taking Nairobi, putting Nairobi on the radar. I was just asking someone who was also saying that, US also did a lot of heavy lifting in the last year's general election. How about if things change? The continent, African continent, has also been vouching for a better representation in IMF and World Bank so that they can change, they can influence policy changes, something that Biden had really been supporting. Probably William Ruto is also looking into that. Now, we want the President Ruto that, yes, we over-relied on the East. Uhuru Kenyatta went East, but when Ruto came, Ruto went West. We did not have a little bit of the balance. And when the President made the visit in May, just a month before protest broke, we actually warned the country. That we just needed to be a little bit careful, because in any case of regime change, Kenya might put all their eggs in one basket. And if that happens, there will be a difference. Now, one thing I realized during Trump regime last time is his immigration policy. Of course, the economy is declining for different factors, and I'm not an American voter. I don't vote in America, so I don't have the range to say on who, and I'm not there to say on who really needs to win. But I think the Trump position, policy on immigration, on immigrants, by the time he was serving as the president before he was kicked out, I think it would be critical to look at that. But and that will be a very key factor. If this is going to be a continuation of that, then probably I will really not vote for him. But I think I feel also Nairobi is so keen on that election, because is Trump going to serve a one term? Remember, if Kamala Harris exits the stage, if she doesn't win, then she, of course, she shall have completed the term of Biden. But then, that also means that Trump shall have served one term. William Ruto will not want to see that, because the one-term narrative will sweep the continent. Remember, in Botswana, the president that have just lost that election, served one term, but from a 58-year-old political party. But have just served one term and has been swept home. So the political optics for Nairobi, they were supporting Kamala Harris, and of course, Trump only serves one term while he's been vouched as Trump head boy. The political optics for Nairobi team will not look better. That's probably why they're supporting, they are actually supporting Kamala Harris. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. We will really try from tomorrow to delve more into the US poll. Yeah, tuachane tupatie breaki dogo, because that's also very, very important. We have quite a number of viewers from that side. Thank you. It's Penina Nyambura. This was huyu ndio shosh, alikuwa peke yake, and let me just tell you how we provided solutions there. Huyu shamba alikuwa naisha alipewa, yes, they were given those allotment letters, but apparently nyumba alijengewa ilishanguka, so the grandchildren ndio walikuwa nyumba zao zilikuwa ziko hapo, so she was just using a makeshift structure. Now what would happen is when the grandchildren come, alisema she feels unsafe, or she feels like anawafinyilia. Now she has to leave and go back to that kitchen, which is now the house yenye alikuwa amejengewa. So this house was built for Nyambura. She will use it alone, peke yake, and she was very happy. And may God bless you. Now, that is Penina Nyambura. This other one is Alice Kamande. But then apparently Alice akona watoto 6, she told us. Akona watoto 6. Some, there is only one, yule mwenye meona pale, tulikuwa na yeye. I think I showed her in the video. But the others awako there, and what she could not directly say, but we also gathered kwamba alcohol and illicit brew, it's a big problem. So she's also gotten that place. Malikuwa nalala ni kwa nyumba kingine kadogo ya mbao, and it was also destroyed. So she's got another one, and then the last one is Mzee Njuguna Munyu, yeah, Njuguna Munyu. This one here, yeye pia anaishi peke yake actually in that home. Yes, anaishi peke yake, and he was telling me yeye ndiye alikuwa ananiambia hana choo. Yeah, so I tried telling some people there, nimeona huko wameweka stima. At least the local community, sasa wale ambao the MCA there, they are trying to get contact, awajenge mzee mzee choo. Yeah, na pia ekewe maji, so that mzee apate usaidizi. But if one of you will be willing, I can be able to directly link you, so that naweza jengea mzee choo. Yeah, hiyo ndio shida pekee sasa yanabaki nayo. But of the house, he's gotten a house. And thank you, we've made an impact. That for sure, guys, I can tell you, we've really made good impact. If you want to partner with Granny Care in future, the number is there. And I want to tell you, Granny Care is the symbolic, the flagship project of the Bold Network. God willing, we are going to register it to a full foundation. We are in that process. But Granny Care is our project now. So this is a project that will move across different counties. We've done Kilifi, we've been to Kisumu, now we're in Nyandarua. We will go somewhere else. But if you want to partner with us and know more about, contact us and you can continue supporting. Hata kama unataka kujenga ingine ya Kilifi uliona, you can still reach out, you can still link and build another one if you want to support someone else. Now that is the program.